Okay, let's dive right into this explainer by confronting a pretty messy, uncomfortable truth. We all accumulate a heavy, stinking pile of metaphorical crap throughout our lives. It's a completely universal human experience, but it's something we rarely talk about with total honesty. So today we're going to trace exactly how that accumulation happens, why it holds us back, and the grueling but absolutely necessary process of wading through it to find actual, sustainable growth.
And hey, this isn't just about other people, right? This is about you, and it's about me. Every single one of us makes mistakes. We fail, we face shame, we face embarrassment, and we get totally bogged down by poor decisions. We pick up unhealthy habits from our environments, and sometimes we just flat out ignore our core values. Over time, all of these experiences and failures just add up. They build into this growing pile of crap in our memory. And as you can probably guess, the bigger that pile gets, the more it stinks.
That brings us to our first major hurdle: wading through life's crap and actually acknowledging the mess we've created.
To really understand what this mess is made of, just think about the daily habits that bog us down. It's that constant pull of instant gratification. We eat poorly, scroll mindlessly through social media, maybe numb ourselves with substances, or chase these totally meaningless pursuits that just end up lowering our self-respect. It gives us this visceral, heavy feeling. And honestly, before we even realize it, we're wading through a swamp of our own bad choices, and the mud is creeping right up to our necks.
Now, here's what's really interesting. There is only one true antidote to this self-inflicted misery, and that's courage. Most people just don't have the courage to face their own mess. When the crap gets deep and painful, so many of us just stop, right there in the middle. They never make it out the other side simply because they lack the bravery to keep moving forward. Courage is literally the cure, and it demands that you take that next agonizing step.
Let's look at the contrast between these two mindsets. On one side, you've got this comforting but highly toxic psychology of just staying stagnant. People in the swamp normalize their unhealthy state. They convince themselves, hey, I deserve this crappy life. And worse, they befriend other people who also want to stay in that misery. But on the other side, that's the agonizing, dirty process of taking accountability. Very few realize they're stuck and actually try to slowly, steadily pull themselves out. And listen, when you finally do wade out, a lot of that mess stays smeared on you for a long time.
Which leads us to our next point: overcoming naysayers and shame, and facing the intense social friction that comes with cleaning up your act.
So as you start cleaning yourself up, the people who were in the mess with you, they're gonna notice. You smelling better than the community you left behind is just not gonna be tolerated. They'll look at the visible mistakes still smeared all over you, laugh, and call you nasty. It's known as the crabs in a bucket phenomenon. The people who know your past mistakes will actively mock you, literally trying to reel you back down into the very mess you're working so hard to escape.
The way you respond to this requires a massive mindset shift. You kind of have to acknowledge it and say, yeah, I am a turd, but I'm going to keep going. You have to connect your admission of past failures to your future momentum. So many people let the shame and those hidden regrets stop them dead in their tracks. They hide in a corner and never put themselves in a better environment. But relentless momentum is the absolute only way to make the shame fall off. You just have to keep moving.
Here is a crucial takeaway. Naysayers will absolutely try to weaponize your past against you. They'll point and say, no way he can be successful, look at all the mistakes he made. But pushing through that pain renders their taunts completely powerless. Think about it. If you hide in a corner, nobody remembers you anyway. But if you keep going while covered in your past mistakes, you force them to watch you succeed in spite of everything.
Let's move on to enduring the arduous process and look at what actual, sustainable growth really looks like.
To really wrap our heads around sustainable growth, let's shift our metaphor from a swamp to a 100-mile ultramarathon. Why the number 98? Because, brilliantly, in a 100-mile race, the first 98 miles are just this grueling, monotonous process you have to endure just to get to the final 2 miles. It is in those last 2 miles when you are forcing yourself to do the things that need to be done, even when you desperately do not want to do them, that you experience the absolute most true, profound growth.
And in ultramarathon, everyone wants the glory of crossing that finish line, right? But nobody wants to endure the first 85 miles to get there. Right around mile 85, runners start quitting left and right. And why? Well, it's not because they lacked vision. It's usually because they arrogantly decided they didn't need to change their socks, maintain foot care, or hydrate. You simply cannot get to the finish line if you neglect the unglamorous, mandatory basics early on.
And this really highlights the incredible danger of complacency. You can build up all this great momentum, get all the way to the 1-yard line, but if you let off the gas, thinking passive effort is going to just carry you across the finish line, you are entirely mistaken. You can get swept away by a current and pushed 99 yards right back to the beginning. Whether it's your fitness, your faith, or your journey as a spouse or parent, dropping the mandatory process near the finish line will cause a massive, catastrophic setback.
Now for our final section, the reality of trade-offs and dismantling the myth of perfect balance.
Let's look at a really visceral reality from multi-day racing. A runner faces a brutal dilemma. Lay down to sleep for an hour and wake up with a clear mind, but your body gets so cold and intensely stiff that it might take 2 hours of horrific pain just to start moving again. So do you rest to be mentally stronger, or do you push through hoping your body bounces back? It's a sobering reality. Every single choice has a painful cost.
Now, let's apply that directly to real life. Ask yourself, do I spend more time with my family and slow the growth of my business, or do I maximize business growth and spend less time with my family? I'm posing this ultimate uncomfortable dilemma to totally shatter the illusion that we can simply have it all. We love to think we can find this perfect harmony, but it's just not reality. You cannot avoid these decisions, and they require profound sacrifices.
There's a really harsh truth to success. Your biggest strengths will usually become your greatest weaknesses. Our unique abilities come at a cost. For example, if you have an incredible ability to stay hyper-focused, present, and driven in one area, like forging a team in business, that extreme dedication is naturally going to cause severe repercussions in other areas of your life. To survive this, you have to recognize your blind spots and actively bring a team into your life to compensate for the collateral damage your own strengths create.
We're going to conclude our explainer today with a pretty powerful reflection. Time is flying by faster than we think, and eventually, every single one of us is going to reach the end. When that moment comes, you're going to look back on the specific trade-offs you made. You'll be incredibly proud of some, and others, well, you might deeply regret them. So I challenge you to evaluate the true costs of your current path right now. Are you making the right trade-offs today before the time runs out? Take a hard look at your life, endure the process, and whatever you do, keep going.